You race. You are
yes,
keen motor
occasionally,
racers.
yeah, historic racing.
So what are you racing now?
Track. What I have got is a Ford Falcon, 1964.
Isn't that like land yachting?
Exactly, it's got a certain floppiness to it.
Rowan Atkinson is more than just a comedy icon. He's a living example of how talent and passion can lead to success. With an estimated net worth of over $150 million, Atkinson has built an impressive career as an actor and writer. Beyond his astonishing career, he's also a car enthusiast with a massive car collection, ranging from vintage classics to some of the most sought-after models in automotive history. Join us as we take a look at some of the finest cars in Rowan Atkinson's collection. Aside from being an engineering masterpiece, the McLaren is also the most expensive car Rowan Atkinson has ever owned. However, it comes with an interesting backstory you won't believe. During his ownership, Atkinson drove the car for over 41,000 miles. However, his time with the F1 wasn't a smooth one. He crashed the car not once, but twice. The first crash was a minor accident. He bumped into the back of another car while driving through the streets of England, and he escaped unscathed. But the same can't be said about the second crash, which was far more serious. What happened was that Atkinson lost control of the car on a slippery road and ended up hitting a tree. The crash was so intense that the engine separated from the car. Luckily, he walked away alive, but with a fractured shoulder. However, the repair bill was something he couldn't just walk away from. The total sum of money for putting back the pieces cost a record-breaking $1.4 million, making it one of the most expensive car repairs in history. After owning the F1 for 18 years, Atkinson decided it was time to part ways with it in 2015. He was able to auction it at a jaw-dropping $12 million. This means he made nearly 10 times the original price, having bought it for around $800,000. But here's the twist. The crashes weren't the main reason Atkinson decided to sell the car. The McLaren F1 transformed from being a millionaire's car to a billionaire's trophy within a few years, attracting too much attention. Atkinson, being a private person, couldn't help but let go of his most beloved car. Atkinson has a history of selling unique cars and moving on, but a particular car in his collection survived this trend: the 1993 Mercedes-Benz 500e, also known as the W124. A mere glance at this car would have you conclude it is an ordinary sedan, but don't be deceived. It is a true performance machine, earning it the title of wolf in sheep's clothing. Just so you know, the beauty was built in collaboration with Porsche. With this partnership, it's not surprising that the 500e boasts a 5.0-liter V8 engine producing 326 horsepower that can hit 62 miles per hour in just 5.5 seconds. But the story doesn't end there. The Mercedes 500e has a story of its own, having been auctioned not once, but twice. You see, the actor first bought the car in 1993, but decided to sell it in 1994. But unlike other supercars he has sold in the past, he couldn't resist repurchasing it in 2017. Surprisingly, just a year after repurchasing it, he sold it again, this time with a twist. He auctioned it alongside another unique vehicle from his collection, the 1989 Lancia Thema 8.32, and just like the Mercedes 500e, the looks of the Lancia Thema can be very deceiving as well. From afar, the 89 Lancia might look like a regular executive sedan, but beneath its hood lies something extraordinary: a Ferrari-derived 3.0-liter V8 engine. Up next on the list is Atkinson's 1986 Aston Martin V8 Zagato. Unlike the Aston Martins we see today, the V8 Zagato was a high-performance machine built for the racetrack. And like other rare classics in his garage, this has its own unique story. You see, Atkinson bought the Zagato for $670,000. However, instead of keeping it as a collector's piece, he wanted it to be a special race car, so he sent it to Aston Martin Works Service for performance upgrades. There, the car was rebuilt into a race car for an additional $300,000, pushing the total investment on the Zagato close to $1 million. Like many of Atkinson's high-performance cars, the V8 Zagato was involved in an accident during a race. After a brief racing career, Atkinson decided to auction the car. Unfortunately, the auction didn't go as planned, as he sold it for just $162,000 after investing about $292,000 in rebuilding it. But the car's journey didn't end with Atkinson. After changing hands, Nicholas Mee & Co. worked on the car, shifting it from a track spec setup to a road spec configuration. After the modification, it was retired from racing and was sold for $335,000. Atkinson's Ford Falcon Sprint is a classic car with a rich racing history. The Sprint was a performance-oriented version of the regular Falcon, featuring a 4.7-liter V8 engine instead of the standard 2.4-liter inline-6 engine. This upgrade gave it more power and made it one of the most exciting muscle cars of the 1960s. Just so you know, the Ford Falcon Sprint laid the foundation for the first-generation Ford Mustang, launched in 1964. Atkinson's journey with the Sprint began in 2006, and since then, he has raced it in multiple events, pushing it to its limits. Before you ask if he crashed this too, the answer is yes. The backstory happened at the 2014 Goodwood Revival Shelby Cup race. During the event, he was involved in a head-on collision that could have been disastrous. Fortunately, the damage was minor, and both Atkinson and the Falcon Sprint escaped the crash without serious injuries. After 15 years of ownership, Atkinson decided to put the car up for sale. In 2021, he auctioned the Falcon Sprint for $77,000 at Silverstone Auctions. When people think of Rowan Atkinson's car collection, they likely picture only high-end European cars. But among Atkinson's prized possessions sits a car that may surprise many, the Honda NSX. Atkinson's NSX is an upgraded model that features a 3.0-liter V6 engine, producing 252 horsepower that has the capacity to reach a top speed of 168 miles per hour. While those numbers may not seem impressive by today's supercar standards, the NSX's performance was groundbreaking in the 1990s. Another gem sitting pretty in Atkinson's garage is the Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead, which holds a special place in his heart. Fans of Atkinson who have seen Johnny English Reborn might recognize this oceanic blue masterpiece with perfectly coordinated wheels. The 2011 model stands out not just because of its elegance, but because of what's under its hood. Atkinson's Phantom boasts a rare 9.0-liter V16, while the regular Phantom Drophead uses a 6.75-liter V12 engine. According to reports, the actor spent over $500,000 on this particular Phantom, but the real twist is that he personally requested Rolls-Royce to install an experimental V16 engine exclusively for Johnny English Reborn.
And unbelievably, they made 3 or 4 of these engines, and they tested them, and they got them up to speed, and they had unbelievable power and torque figures. So I got in touch with Rolls-Royce and said, would you mind squeezing one of your V16 engines in the front of our Johnny English Phantom?
Coming in next is the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT. This red masterpiece is more than just a stunning car. It's a high-performance machine built for speed. The AMG isn't just about its trademark gold-wing doors. It boasts a 6.2-liter V8 engine producing 583 horsepower. This powerhouse allows it to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.6 seconds. You see, Atkinson loves cars, not just for their looks, but for how they perform. His passion for cars started at a young age and later became a hobby, which explains why he owns numerous racing cars. For 2 seasons, he raced in the Renault 5-Turbo 1-Make series, attended the 2013 Goodwood Revival with his Jaguar Mark 7, and in 2012, raced at the Le Mans Festival with his Aston Martin Vantage DT4. Unlike many collectors, he doesn't buy cars just to show them off. He enjoys taking them on the road and pushing their limits. For him, cars are more than just expensive items. They are about the thrill, control, and the joy of experiencing them on the road.